Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, this is the moment you've all been waiting for. Welcome back to yet another episode of Show Friday. On this week's episode, we are going to talk about this weird piebald combination. My name is Robert Bronkhorst. Welcome to Roundhog Serpents. His name is Spike and he is a 2024 male Ballpython Python regius, and genetically speaking he is a sandblast piebald. Now, due to the pattern on his head that looks a little bit like a pastel piebald, there might be pastel in this, but to be honest you would expect a little bit more of a deeper yellow coloration. And he doesn't have the deeper yellow coloration, so I don't think he is. I'm about 80% sure that there is no pastel in this and this is just a sandblast piebald. Now, what does a sandblast piebald look like, you might ask? Well, this, of course, because this is a sandblast piebald. But what distinguishes sandblast piebald from non-sandblast piebald? The sandblast strips away all of the pattern, all of the sharp pattern. You can see there is some pattern here, but in the close-up you will see that there isn't really a defined stripe or something other than on the neck and on top of the head. On the body itself there's no real clear piece of pattern. Oh, I'm lying. There is some on the tip of his tail. The rest is just moved into... Oh, there's a little fly or something. The rest of the pattern is just all scrambled up and it really looks like this animal has been sandblasted. That's where the name probably comes from. Right? The pattern is sandblasted off and all you have left is different layers of base color, which in my opinion is really cool. You can see that very faint yellow coloration. You can see that the darker brown coloration, that almost exact same coloration as you will have with browned out pastels. Then you have some very nice clear dark gray outlining around the saddles, which is, I really love that. And then every now and then you have a little hint of orange into the saddles. I really like this coloration. The eyes are somewhat, they are dark. I haven't thought about this, but that's probably how you would distinguish that there is no pastel in this, right? Because he would have a green eye. There's no green eye. It is very dark blue-ish. That blue-gray coloration. Not the prettiest, but he is cute though, isn't he? Right, I can hear you thinking, sandblast, great. What is that? Well, I didn't know either. I picked this boy up. Ooh, he might be pooping. That would be gross. I picked this boy up on a reptile expo in Houten. I didn't have much time to go around all the tables, but there just happened to be a table close to my table where this... Oh, he's definitely cool. Ew. Little snakes are like little children. You need to wipe their butt after they've done something gross. Great, let's start over. Sandblast, great. So here's a sandblast. What the hell is sandblast? I know, I didn't know either what sandblast was. I've never heard of this gene, and I really and I also wasn't intent on buying into this gene. Say it more fast and clearly. I also wasn't intent on buying into this gene, but I was at a reptile expo in Houten, and I had a stand, of course, as I always do there. And very close to me there was a table with this animal on it, along with a pastel version of this animal. And I didn't know anything about sandblast. All I really knew was that I really wanted to have this animal. The pattern, or the lack of pattern, really blew me away. And I saw a lot of potential without knowing what sandblast was. So I bought him, brought him home, did some research, forgot what was in the research because he's nowhere near big enough to breed yet, right? So all the real planning goes into next year, when he's, well, next year? Yeah, 2026, into 2026, 2027 season he will be ready to breed, and we can see what will be the next step and what we are going to do about this. But for this video I did some research once again, and I made some notes so I can tell you about what this gene is. The sandblast gene is an incomplete dominant trait produced by Osborne reptiles. Am I right? Osborne reptiles. Yeah, produced by Osborne reptiles back in 2010. In 2010, not 2010. Back in 2010. He bought in years prior. Before that, he bought a pewter female that looked just a little bit different and nicer than all the other pewters you would expect. So he swapped that for a couple of piebots, I think. It's on Morph Market, on the Morphpedia. You can read the whole story about it. And then later produced some urban camos. And urban camo is the combination that this gene is most known for. He also isolated a sandblast, and in this isolated form it looks very close to a normal, just a classic Ballpython. Only the pattern is a little bit more, well, not really broken up. Yeah, you can say broken up. The rings of the alien head are a little bit bigger, making the outlining a little bit thinner. And on Morphpedia there is only a picture of a adult isolated sandblast, and that animal looked like looked a little bit more yellow in the base color. So the blacks are black and the yellow is a little bit more, well, yellow instead of brown if you compare it to the normal coloration of a classic. The pattern also, to me, very resembles that of XOLB, but the only picture of a XOLB that I found on the internet, isolated XOLB, the animal was young and the coloration was more red-like. But if it comes to pattern, that looks quite the same. And also, if you look how it reacts with pewter, how sandblast reacts with pewter, I think that's quite the same way that XOLB reacts with pewter. Maybe it is the same gene, maybe it is similar and in a complex, or maybe they have nothing to do with each other. But I'm sure that in the future, when I've learned more about XOLB and more about sandblast and learned how to identify those two separate genes, maybe we can breed them together to see what happens. But that's way far in the toekomst. Toekomst? That's just a Dutch word. Into the future. That's way far into the future. I already mentioned that sandblast is best known for making urban camos. And urban camos are a piebald-like animal with different shades of gray. Just like this has different shades of yellow, brownish coloration. If you want to make an urban camo, you really need a sandblast, and you also need super cinnamon, you need pastel, and 1 copy of the piebald gene. Now, you also might know that super cinnamon head for pied looks like a pied. So I don't know what happens if you put a full copy of piebald in there. Maybe nothing really happens and you only really need 1 copy of piebald, but you can use 2. I'm not sure about that. But that's the recipe for urban camo. So super cinnamon, pastel, sandblast, head for pied. It also reacts great with pewter because that's where it originally come from, and as you can see, sandblast reacts phenomenal with piebald. There are some other combinations made with it, and most of the combinations with sandblast react very poorly, right? As you can see, in the right circumstance, just as XOLB, it can create some really phenomenal reactions, but there are also a lot of reactions that don't do a lot. So with just a single copy of pastel, nothing really happens. And a copy of cinnamon, I also saw some cinnamon ones, not really dramatic. The best thing to do with this gene, I think, is to try and figure out what incomplete dominant traits react very heavily with it, creating something that is not been seen before, right? Keeping it into pied, I think with piebald the most spectacular thing that can be done has been done, making it into urban camo, which is quite a phenomenal animal to look at, but it also requires super cinnamon, and super cinnamon is not the best due to the duckbilling. Also, it is quite a hassle to make urban camos if you don't already have a copy of cinnamon into your sandblast piebald, which I don't. Making this animal lighter, adding yellow belly or orange dream to it, would also not give the desired outcome, I think, because the color would just fade a little bit more, and the more you add to it, the more white-ish it becomes and the less spectacular and dramatically it becomes. What if you do the other way around, adding dark genes to it like mahogany or black pastel? Well, black pastel would really make it a high white pied, which kind of sucks. But if you do things like that, it would look a lot like pewter pieds with just a single color cells. So I don't think that would be very great either. So in my opinion, the best option for moving forward is finding new incomplete or dominant traits that really complement the sandblast gene. In order to do that, we are going to pair maybe one, maybe 2 females a year with this male. Strategic females, right? Not too complex, so we can slowly build our knowledge about this gene and how it reacts with different stuff, but also not too simple, because we want to make as many different combinations as possible in a single season without producing a lot of babies, which is a key part about it, because sandblast is so unknown and not understood for now. The value of this gene is quite low, and even for a low price, a lot of people don't know what they are buying, especially if you have it in a combination that's not very reactive at all. So only producing a few babies a year to build up the knowledge and check what happens will be the plan for now. So what would you think would be a very great addition to the sandblast gene that has not been done before? Please let me know into the comments below. It will help me out a lot for 2 reasons. First of all, to see if you come up with any good ideas what to put this mill into the next season. And also if you comment on my videos, it will be great for my algorithm. Yeah, I think this video is long enough. So for now I'm going to call it quits. I really hope you enjoyed the video. I really hope you liked my explanation about sandblast. I'd like to thank you for your time and really hope to see you in the next video. Bye.